Apologies about that. I'm still in the office. So let me see who's here. Sherry, Anisha.
It looks like we are just missing Eric and Allison, but we do have a quorum.
Allison isn't going to make it. Just heard from her. Just saw an email from her. And how many people? Just need one more to make quorum, Christina?
No, we can have quorum at 4.
4? Okay. Okay, great. All right, let's get started then. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining today's board meeting, Thursday, November 30th, and thank you for your flexibility. We had to reschedule the last one from a couple weeks ago. This public meeting is of the Hope Community Public Charter School Board is now called to order. We will now call the roll to determine if we have quorum. Anissa Bailey.
Here.
Thank you. Anissa Lorraine Oyotobo.
Lorraine, can you come off mute, please?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Thank you, Lorraine. Sharifat Balogun.
Present.
Thank you. And I'm here. A quorum has been determined, and we will now proceed with the business portion of the meeting. We have an agenda to review. And I will like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
This is Anissa. I move to approve the agenda for today, November 30th.
Thank you. May I have someone to second the motion?
This is Lorraine. I second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Nope, the agenda is approved. And board members, we also have the board minutes to review. And are there any corrections? Sorry, I'm just doing one last quick check here. Okay, nope. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the October 19 board meeting?
This is Anissa. I move to approve the board minutes from October 19th, 2023.
Thank you, Anissa. May I have someone to second the motion?
This is Lorraine. I second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Nope. The agenda from October 9th, the meeting minutes from October 19th are approved. And they will be online. Minutes from this meeting will be approved in at the December board meeting. The recording will also be available 24 to 48 hours after today. And these actions are based on the Open Meetings Act. Now we will hear updates from PLA on Hope on the progress of the school. So who's up first? Eva?
Yes, it is, and I will be. Thank you, Christina. We just had a finance committee meeting last week. Oh gosh, maybe it was a few weeks ago, and reviewed financials in detail. Here we'll review at the high level the summary pieces. This is through September. We also have October now. This was clearly the board packet was prepared some time ago, but we're staying very consistent on the financials. As you can see, we project year-ending cash balance at $3.73 million, so just a little bit higher than budget, which is a positive. Right now, you can see we were in the dark gray at September, right around $2 million as we wait on grant reimbursement. So expenses have gone out. Now the dollars have to come in. Overall, the bottom section, you can see grants invoice just at 1%, much higher than that now in November. In the bottom section, scoot down just a little bit, Christina, we review the actual year-to-date actuals, the budget, and then forecast that. So we look for any significant variances based on year-to-date activity and adjust. So the forecast is currently projected at a surplus, so better than budget, which is a good piece, but we will be closely watching expenses throughout the year to be sure that we stay aligned with budget to build that surplus and prepare us for the end of ESSER that will be at the end of this year. So very important that we stay close, and we are. Budget stayed closely aligned to actuals with enrollment, since we were just a few scholars variance. So that's really all I have. Overall, very consistent with what we've seen for the last few months. Oh, last piece is audit is in the very final stages, so we should have a draft in the next day or so. That's it.
Oh, thanks, Eva. I don't have any questions about the budget this time. Any questions for Eva? No? Okay. Who's next on the principal's report?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys had a great holiday and are feeling wonderful. Tolson Hopkins here, principal in residence, and I'm going to be going over Dr. Owens' principal report.
There's a lot of background noise. Is that from you, Talisha, where you're sitting, or?
No, it's the computer. Actually, there's no noise here. I was thinking it was cleared up. Hold on, let me see if I can. Please tell me if it sounds better. It's the
I don't hear anything right now, Talisha. Maybe that's if you talk now. Let's
Can
see.
you hear
Oh,
now?
Depends when
it's
she
still
talks.
yeah, it happens when you talk.
Same thing, same thing.
Yes.
Okay. Gonna have to switch the phone audio. Give me a second.
If it's easier, why don't we do this while we're waiting for you to switch over? Christina, let's go ahead and jump down to the PLA, and I'll give you a moment. Mrs. Hopkins, does that sound okay?
Yep, I just need 30 seconds and I'll be there.
Awesome. So my report's not real long. We just a couple of things to update since the last board. Oh, there we go. Just a few things to follow up from the last report. We will be coming up on benchmark data soon. So I wanted to just hit a couple touch points on some of the CFA pieces that are coming up. I know that some of the data that's coming up that Talisha will share actually kind of overlaps. We talk about enrollment, and this is old data at this point. It's a few weeks older, so it may be varied a little bit for point. Enrollment is 221 with a budget of 231 and a target of 257. Our scholar attendance now is listed below. We were 87% in August, 85 in September, and 80 October. But our staff attendance at this time is at a daily attendance rate of 9%, which is pretty exciting. That's a great thing to see, and especially as we think about past performance. So we're excited to be at 95% attendance at this time. Christina,
Just a quick question on the enrollment. I thought we were closer to 231 at the beginning of the school year, but this is kind of where we've settled to 221? Or did I don't have my old files in front of me.
I can pull it up. I mean, if we want, give me a moment, I can wrap back around and pull up those additional documents if that's helpful, and I can kind of give you a breakdown. Yeah, I can do that. Absolutely. And I think it's been pretty steady right around this though, but I can pull up the actual numbers for you.
Melissa, I think count day was 229,
Okay.
a little bit higher. Yeah, 229 was our count day.
Okay. And any reason, any people just got into other schools or just not coming to school, and attendance is at, Christina, can you go back up to the slide again? Thank you. A daily attendance, right? What's going on there? I mean, what our goal is, 100% obviously, but 85%, what's going on with kids, or they just can't get to school, just not coming, like what's going on with the
And I'll let, when Felicia's able, she can probably speak a little bit better to this, but what I would say is I know that we've had a couple of challenges, things, even the groups we serve. I know as I talk to Mr. Owens, he'll go to some of our specific bus stops and parents are like, come back, they're not ready. And so he's even looped back around. I understand that sometimes we have siblings staying home to take care of siblings. And so we've had some conversations around that. And there's an attendance team on the school. So there is a process that we follow, you know, how we make connections, how we document that we're working with the families, trying to overcome any barriers that may come into. But I'll let Mrs. Hopkins speak a little bit more closely to some of those things that are happening on the campus. But we do have, when we report the attendance, we have to also report out what are we doing to try to ensure that we don't have any chronically absent students.
Correct.
It's been a little bit of a shift this year. It truly has been. I mean, it's a little bit different with the population change and just trying to make sure that we're communicating and doing all the right things we need to do. But again, I'll let her speak to a little bit of that as well as what's happening on campus there with the attendance team that's there on the ground, you know, pushing that forward.
Okay. All right, no problem. Okay. All right. I
Absolutely.
think you had some next slide.
Yeah, just a couple other things. Close reading. I just wanted to share. So this is close reading. I shared this at our academic committee meeting. Just as a reminder, it's a common formative assessment. So it's something we do ongoing every other week. Have our staff do close reading with their students. So they learn how to annotate text, how to access text, how to create extended responses to text. So it's even recommended by College Board. So it's something that we started in the 3rd grade and it really supports all the way through college and adulthood. And so it's one of the things that they provide and talk about how important it is to provide this for our students. So we did have a breakdown here looking at what the data looks like specifically for close reading by grade. It's not perfect. We're better and better about it at doing it, grading it, and ensuring some of these pieces are happening. We do have specifically here, I apologize, the screen very well. So as we look through kind of the proficiency, I'm going to skip over, sorry. Oh, you got it. Thank you. There we go. Thank you so much. So if we could actually go, yes, right there. So right now we are at a 7.21 proficiency. We expect to start at the low end, and this is the average proficiency across all time. So if you start at 0, those test scores will stick with you. And then as we get better, it should just continuously kind of slowly grow. It's not like this week we got 5% proficiency. Next week we get 20. It's not going to report as a 20. It's going to report as the average of all of those test scores over time. So when we're looking at what we're doing here, we've got a lot of work to do still. And so I've been working with Talisha and the team. We've had some different people push in. Dannon from our academic team has been working with the teachers during PLCs to talk through both I apologize. I'm going to shut off keep saying my internet is unstable. She's been working them on pacing guides as well as the CFA pieces. So making sure that we know what to do, where we are to stay on target, and how to support our best when they're not performing. So as you look here, you can see that we did have some growth on September 13th. We had a 2% average proficiency rate. And then including that 2% all the way up to 11th when this report was created, we were at 7% average proficiency rate. So we are moving the right direction. So we're growing. So this is the percentage is an average from the BOY. We hope to be at 30 by the end of the year. And that sounds kind of interesting. It doesn't mean 30 is where we end, but that means the average of proficiency throughout all time. So we're continuing to monitor that. We have principal PLCs where we're monitoring CFA data and the engagement, students that are doing it, and actually the results. So it's just one piece I wanted to share. That's something that we do ongoingly, and that we have different supports that we're pushing into the building to ensure that everybody understands how it works, what they need to do, have that professional development, and that we're responding to the results.
And this data, if you compare it to last year's, is there a difference? Is this because we have a more mixed school population, or like?
Yeah. And I would say we are not performing as well as last year for, I think, a couple different reasons. So it is really hard to compare. However, and this is one of the pieces, it's not graded. So we do encourage, if we have an opportunity to expose students to these pieces, we encourage that, so that, because next year, even our students that aren't speaking English as their first language, they get 1 year. So we want to make sure that we do have an opportunity to expose them to things, but we don't want to create frustration either. So just with that being said, we're not surprised to see lower results right now.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Any other questions on close reading or the CFA data?
I got your grade.
Ms. Hopkins, do you wanna?
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
right.
better. So you want to talk us through kind of from the beginning about the
Sure.
attendance, and what are you seeing and what are you guys actually doing on the ground to kind of get the numbers up?
Okay. And so you also spoke, you wanted to know about our enrollment, and Mr. Tolliver, please feel free to chime in if there's anything else that I missed. But we did lose some families, and the hard part with our enrollment population is we know that we have a population of scholars who live in temporary housing, and we have families, we have a lot of families with multiple students. So often if we lose one family, we lose multiple kids. And as housing becomes available, some of our scholars are going to move out of the hotels and into other housing or find their own housing. And that housing may not be near our school, and our school may no longer be accessible. What are we going to do to combat that? Well, we recently acquired our bus, so that gives us a van and a bus. And that is going to help because we'll be able to have more extended reach with providing transportation for scholars. So then even after they leave, if we're able to get into more of the quadrants of DC outside of just Northeast, I think that's really going to help with our ability to retain those scholars to continue to come to Hope, even if they have to relocate. Because to be honest, where students are housed temporarily is probably, there are probably financial factors that make it harder for our scholars to actually live in those communities outside of the hotels, if that makes sense. So most of the time, they're going to be looking for housing in different parts of DC that are more affordable, that are farther away from where our school is. So when we lose them, we don't lose them to housing. I mean, not when they move, it's not going to be housing that's most likely in Northeast or Northwest DC because of the cost. So the bus is really going to be the equalizer to be able to reach those students and give them access points back to the school. So that is something that's going to help mitigate that in the future. So our average attendance. Go ahead.
All right, so we're seeing most of that movement or of kids who've the number drop, and also the daily attendance. A lot of that is focused on our families, our housing hotels. Is that where most of this data is, or?
That is where most of it, and Tolliver, please correct me if I'm wrong, but from my sense of what I've seen, that is where most of it is coming from. I think we're also fighting factors of culture and difference, where the educational system in the United States and expectations, even when it comes to immunization, attendance, and the regularity of school attendance is a different cultural expectation. And then also complying with the expectations of, like, if you're out, you have to provide a note, you have to go to the doctor after this many. So those are norms that many of our native Washingtonian students, parents would know, like, oh, I have to provide a note, I'm going here, I'm doing this. Or if they're home for this many days, I have to take them to the doctor because a parent note doesn't suffice. So we're getting parents who are just like, they're not feeling well, I'm just keeping them home. And then I'm keeping all of them home. And that becomes, especially when if the older sibling is sick and they don't want to send the younger sibling by themselves, they want to send them when everyone can go back. And another issue, we had a few cases of COVID, which did kind of scare the population. And I think some of those things made people in this season feel like, oh, well, I should just keep my kids home. So we're trying to message like, you got to send your kids to school. If they're well, send them to school. Those are the factors that we are fighting. The COVID factor is still a factor with our native English speakers and our newcomers, because it creates a scare. Yeah,
Mhm.
You mind if I speak, Assistant Principal Hop?
please, thank you.
Oh, okay. So you're correct with everything that you said. So what we've done also to become solution based is to have meetings along with the I would say our homeless population staff there at the hotels. And so there was a meeting that took place today in which we had the opportunity to talk about attendance issues as well as some other things along the way. So they are working with us to support us with the attendance initiative, but also with the recruitment piece as well. So we're trying to make sure that we tie in everything to help parents understand the importance of education, because it is a little bit different culturally, and that's what we have to, or that's what we're trying to do, which is to be understanding towards that. But yeah, some of the cases when students or their families transition out of the shelters, it becomes I guess you can say it's a gift, but as well, it becomes an obstacle for us. So when they transition out, it's for a purpose, but then, we have to also continue to recruit to replace those families that leave us. So it is good because they become, or they have support that they need to transition on, but we have to continuously every day connect with those families to make sure that we're recruiting.
Okay, thanks, Ms.
Can I add to,
Tolson.
just the last piece I would add is, we've also recently refreshed our home communications to families. And in that, Ms. Gregory also, so Ms. Gregory, Mr. Tolliver, and Mr. Yapa have been having meetings with parents who are having excessive absences. And in that process, Ms. Gregory also added to it sort of a questionnaire that's like, what are the reasons? How can we support you? So that's not, so we have both, here's the law, here's the expectations that you have to meet, but also what are the factors that are causing you, so that we can have a better understanding of why parents are keeping students home. So that factor kind of is more encouraging and supportive, and sort of extends the hand of like, what are the reasons? How can we help turn those things around so that you're sending scholars to school? And we can go to the next slide.
Do you mind if I say one more thing? I'm sorry, AP Hopkins.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Carrie. I actually spoke with one of the parents just to have a candid conversation in reference to what it was like before they transitioned here. And I think there wasn't a big focus on students being able to go to school on a daily basis. And so that's why we're having these meetings with the staff there, but also with the parents. We are going to, as far as the leadership from our school, we are going to talk to the family specifically at the hotel. That was one of the goals that we had in the meeting, in reference to them giving us the opportunity to speak with the families there in reference to the education here and things that need to take place for their scholars to be successful. So I just wanted to add that as well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tolliver. Okay, so here are our key enrollment dates. So we are in full swing. All roads lead to EdFest on Saturday. We're excited. Mr. Tolliver is leading the charge. We have our marketing ready to go. I want to say specifically thank you to Miss Mentor, who was on site with us 2 weeks ago when we had our videographer and photographer on site. There was a lot to capture, and really great content was captured: teacher interviews, parent interviews, admin interviews, photos, classroom video photos, videography in the classroom. There were many, many great pieces. If you are not following us on social media, then you are not aware of our first interview with a student being posted. So make sure you go on Instagram and that you follow us so that you can see that first interview with Ms. Deandra Snowden in 3rd grade, who did an awesome job. So we have new posters, new banners. We are so ready to shine at EdFest. if you're in town, make sure you stop by so that you can see our table and our scheme and all the wonderful things that are going to be presented there. So it's enrollment season officially starting on Saturday. All right, next slide. All right, so just a quick highlight there. We did complete our bullying campaign for October, and all of our classrooms participated. So we will have a video to share with you soon of all those pieces combined and compiled for your viewing pleasure.
This video did not come through, and Principal
Okay.
Owens was supposed to send me an updated.
Okay, so yes, that was one of the example videos where each class did a video on bullying. And so we did have our family learning night, and it was about STEAM. That was the theme. STEAM was the theme of the event. And so that was just one of the photos. And we had families out, we had family activities, and we had a competition, and the students got to highlight their work. Thank you to Mr. Bradford, Mr. Moore, and Mr. Blunt, who got students invigorated and ready to present on that evening. And we can keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, these are just some highlight photos, so we can press on. All right, so we have launched a campaign for all of our families to sign up on remind.com so that we can connect with everyone and make sure that parents are able to receive quick text alerts with any major changes, or especially as we go into the season where inclement weather may be possible. We want parents to have a quick way to receive those messages about changes to our school day. Okay, keep going. All right, so this was from our October 31st, dressed as a book character day. So we continue with our morning coffee talks, the first Tuesday of the month. And we held our PTO meeting. I believe, Mr. Tolson, we're still looking for a treasurer, but we have elected some officials to the PTO, and so our PTO is up and running and moving forward. Wonderful highlight here on the 22nd, the day before Thanksgiving, we had opened up the school to have a Hope Thanksgiving dinner for our families, donations of food from staff members and family members of staff members. We had more than enough to feed every person. We had about 75 people in attendance, and we fed about 75. And with dinner, dessert, drinks, and all, we had an art station, we had music, we had a photography station. We took some awesome photos. So we will share, those photos came in recently, so we will share some of the photos. Actually, if you're following us on social media, you'll see that that was recently a post, and you can go online and see some of those photos there. Is this the last slide?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just give a few quick updates. So we have been working hard on updating. Thank you so much to Ms. Jones, who has been working with Dan to update our pacing calendars so that we are accurately paced out for the school year. Pacing calendars drive what happens in the classroom, and it aligns us to those CFA exams. So it's really important that we're on pace so that we're lined up so that we collect good data when we take our CFAs. So we have been doing CFA training. We did a whole group training in PD, and we have been doing spotlight trainings with individual teachers or groups of teachers to make sure that teachers understand the value of the overall system. And we're also creating individualized plans for those teachers who have gotten off track to get back on track with their CFAs so that they can be accurately collecting that data as we proceed through the year, because this is our only way to have an indicator of how students are doing and how they're likely to perform on the DC tape. So that PLC time has been dedicated to bolstering the completion and grading of CFAs by all teachers. And I believe that is the bulk of what we need to present today. Any questions?
No, I don't have any. Thank you, Ms. Hopkins. Appreciate the updates. Thank you, Mr. Tolliver, for
You're welcome.
chiming in as well. So next up is operations.
Good evening, everyone. So we do have some
I'm sorry,
proposals.
sorry, hold on, who's talking? Please identify, because I can't see a picture pop up. Oh, hi, Ms. Savoy.
Hi. So we do have some proposals for the marquee. We have 3 digitals and 1 non-digital. So a company, Golden Rule Signs, sent us 2 proposals. One proposal, the total cost was $19,411.45, which is a little smaller than the current marquee that we have posted outside, that's mounted to the wall. And to keep the same size, the next cost would have been $33,393.62. From the local vendor, Fast Signs, for their digital sign, the total cost was $58,635. And for the non-digital from Fast Signs was $7,022.51. As far as the building drawings, currently I'm still unable to retrieve them, but at the present time, the drawings are not needed. I'm still working with DC government to see if there's something that we can do to try to retrieve those drawings. HVAC update, Phalen was just out on site Tuesday of this week to check the heat. All of the original repairs were completed, but while they were completed, additional items were found that need to be repaired. And one of those items are the RTU3 units, which is not responding at all. We're now currently waiting for a new quote from Boland to find out what the cost would be to complete those repairs. Snow removal, we now have 3 proposals for snow removals. Again, with Boland Cleaning, with their proposal, and then we have another company that's the HL Lawn Services, and Dennis M. Keyhole Landscaping. So it appears out of those 3 proposals, and I would share those with you guys, that the other 2 companies are charging us per hour and per man push. So they have a lot of stipulations on their rates and for the truck and the snow blowers. That's all I have, updates. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry about that. And this is just an update. We're not voting, we're not approving anything today, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And we got the security contract that was all taken care of?
Yes.
Okay. All right, okay, thanks for the update. Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, are there any committee updates? No, Anissa, anything to add from academic committee, or did Melissa cover everything?
You covered most of the things that we talked about in our committee meeting.
Okay, all right, cool. There are no new business actions, right? Nothing else on the in the presentation, right, Christina?
Correct, nothing.
Okay, all right. This is probably the shortest meeting we've ever had. Uh, um, okay, all right. Open up to public comments at this time. Do you have anyone who wants to say anything, ask anything? No, okay. All right, so I do want to take the boarding to closed session. I know some of you have to leave, that's fine. So when we come back, you're not here, thank you for your attendance today. I'd like to make a motion to move the boarding to closed session for the purposes of to discuss contract legal and personnel issues. May I have a motion to do so?
Hi, it's Sharifa. I moved for the board to go into closed session to discuss contract, legal, and personnel issues.
Okay, may I have someone to second the motion?
I second the motion.
All right, thank you. We will now move to a brief closed session.
Ms. Smith, do I need to sign off at this time?
You can sign off. Yeah, it'll take us a few minutes. We just come out and then we just officially close the meeting. So I don't think we will
Okay.
have any other questions, but yeah, free to go.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Okay, thank you. You too.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays too.
Happy holidays.
You're on mute, Carrie.
Oh, sorry. So we will now take a motion to adjourn today's meeting. May I have someone make a motion?
Ms. Sharifa, I move to adjourn today's meeting, November 30th, 2023.
Thank you. May I have a second?
This is Anissa. I second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? No. A meeting is adjourned.
Have a good evening,
Nice talking
everybody.
to all of you. I'll see you guys on the 16th or
Same.
maybe 14th is our board meeting, I think. So 14th and 16th.
All right.
Okay.
See
Have
y'all
a good
then.
evening, everyone.
And
Have a
thanks.
good
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.